843 TV, where the Lowcountry comes to speak.
.843 TV,
where communities come to speak.
We are excited to be at Coastal Discovery Museum. Always fun to learn what's going on. And today we've got a special segment with Rex, who's going to tell us about the 40th anniversary.
Yeah, so this is like the 40th year of having a Coastal Discovery Museum, or museum on Hilton Head Island. We started in the fall of 1985, and the first board director was Helen Cork, and the first director of the museum was Mike Taylor. And so they created this environmental and historical museum of Hilton Head Island. It had a longer name then, but it was still about the same thing, educating people about what's special in the Lowcountry.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've come a long way in that time. And if you haven't been here, you must come and see the magnificent property, the museum. And Rex, let's walk a little bit more back and talk about from there what next.
So when it started, the museum was basically 20 volunteers on the island that thought we should have a museum. They're like, the island was growing and they wanted to preserve the history. And so Mike Taylor's like really fascinating because he was a singer-songwriter that worked with John Denver, and he like co-wrote Rocky Mountain High and Sunshine on My Shoulder, and like was like in the music industry, but he had this passion for archaeology. So he went back to school to become an archaeologist. And in 1985, there was all of this development on Hilton Head Island. And so the soil was constantly being turned over, and he did all these archaeological digs and started amassing a collection for the museum of artifacts that were recovered on Hilton Head Island. And then Helen Cork worked as the board chair on developing funding to create a real museum building. And the first structure on the island that housed the museum was in Plantation Center in 1988. And it was this little room in a strip mall where the museum sold tours of historical sites and environmental stuff that was going on the island.
And so as the years go by, again, we have a lot of time to inch up to this place.
Yeah, and so the museum moved from that sort of strip mall to its own building near the Crazy Crab. And that was the Chamber of Commerce and the museum partnered to create this building, which was at the entrance to Hilton Head Island, to sort of set people up. Like, this is what the island is all about. And so that was the first time the museum that was in 95, and it was the first time the museum had space for exhibitions. Okay. So you can see it's starting to become this real museum. And then in 1998, the town purchased Honeyhorn from the Hack family, and the town actually started negotiating with the museum to see if the museum would operate this 68-acre property and keep it open to the public free of charge. And so there's a lot of work that needed to be done to develop the property, to work out the arrangements with the town. And so the museum didn't get a lease on the property until 2002 and didn't open to the public here till 2007. Because a lot of work needed to be done on the buildings and the ground.
So we're getting close to 18 years, almost 20
we're getting,
years.
And you know, there's a couple things there. Tom Peoples, who was mayor, was really instrumental in helping the museum get started here. And if you walk around the property, you'll see there are things that are named after Tom and Mary Ann. And Tom sort of embodied this idea that the founders had, that Hilton Head Island really should have a great museum. And he said the town should support this. They should put in the roads and water and sewer and infrastructure, and then let the museum do the programming and restoration of the historic buildings and all of that. And so it was this great public-private partnership.
Yes, and I think they have achieved that. Again, I don't know, this is open for visitors and for locals, and we hope that more locals will come out and take advantage of the resources out here
Yeah,
if they don't already.
And so this year, because it's our 40th anniversary, our fall lecture series is called Legends and Luminaries, and we're bringing in people that were here in 1985 when the museum was founded. And so when I was calling people up, I talked to David Lauderdale, and he's one of our speakers. And he was like, Rex, in 1985, everything on the island was happening so fast. Like every day there was new stuff. And so that's when the museum was created. And I think when you hear these people talk, whether it's people who were here for generations, the native islanders, or the early developers that came in, I want people to have the sense of what it was like 40 years ago on the island, because it's different from today. But it also gets you like aligned with some of these founding principles of development on the island. And so there's a lot of stuff going on there, but it's going to be a great lecture series.
Sure will be exciting. I know we can talk about this for our entire show, but we're going to move on to some new subjects or other things happening, because there's always something happening.
Lots going on
at Coastal Discovery Museum. So stay right here. We'll be back with more 843 TV.